Welcome to the Farms Friday Food File Podcast.
It's your contrarian agrarians,
Sue Welcome,
and Annie Carlson, here to tell you all about another of our favorite recipes.
Oh, and this recipe's a treasure this week, guys. It's zucchini fruit bars, and I think that it's zucchini season.
It is zucchini season. Ladies and gentlemen, lock your cars. But after this recipe, you'll want to leave your cars open because it is zucchini season and you want to eat these bars.
Oh.
Sue, what is the big deal about these zucchini fruit bars?
Do you know, before I tell you that, I have to say that I had a neighbor once that we used to trade zucchini grams. You know, like when you turn your back on a zucchini, it like
Doubles
quadruples,
in size,
yes. So we'd carve messages in them and leave them on each other's steps. It's yet another use for a very bountiful harvest.
Zucchini gram, I love it.
I always wanted to have a zucchini tossing contest. Oh, wait, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, what's the big deal about this bar recipe? I found this bar recipe while interviewing for a Germans from Russia food history project that I worked on in the last 3 years. And the woman who gave it to me, Bernice Kiefer Nagel, who now lives in Bismarck, said that they never really grew zucchini in their gardens when they were young, but she will take any zucchini that you offer her because she just loves zucchini. And she shared this zucchini fruit bar recipe with me, and I'll tell you what, it makes a huge pan of bars, and my husband and I are the only two at home, and we tried so hard to eat that whole pan of bars because they're so good. We didn't quite make it before they got a little stale on us, but I got more zucchini, and so I will make more bars.
Now remember, the entire recipe can be found on the show notes on our website, farmsnews.com. So take us through making these zucchini fruit bars.
Alrighty, and you will need the list of ingredients because this was a long one. So to make the actual bars, they are scratch bars. You need 3/4 cup butter and 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, which in English is white sugar to all of you non-bakers out there. A teaspoon vanilla, a couple eggs, that's 2 eggs, 1 3/4 cup flour, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, and here comes the good stuff. That's just the binder for the best ingredients ever, which is 3/4 cup shredded coconut, 3/4 cup chopped dates, 3/4 cup raisins, and 2 cups of unpared, coarsely shredded zucchini.
Oh, Sue, so we have friends who went to Arizona for the winter, and they brought back like fresh dates. And I put them in my freezer because I didn't know, I was saving them for something good.
Fresh dates.
Now that I have zucchini and I can take these fresh dates out of the freezer, this is going to be great.
It's going to be great. And for those of you who have never made a bar or a cake before, you always start by creaming butter and sugar. Then you add your eggs and vanilla and you blend that together. And then I do, but Annie doesn't, sift your flour, salt, and baking powder together.
It's the great sift debate.
The sifting debate continues. And so you mix that together. It doesn't have to be beat to the dickens or anything, but I always use my electric mixer. And then because the coconut gets caught in the beaters, you want to use a big spoon and stir in those dates, raisins, zucchini, and coconut. Now, the zucchini will actually be kind of like the substitute for any liquids that you had been putting in a cake recipe normally. And you put this in a greased 10 by 15 inch pan and bake at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes or until the top is richly brown. And what do we do in the meantime while we're waiting for this to bake?
We got to have some sort of topping, a frosting, don't we?
I forgot to ask you what you frosted your chocolate cake with when we talked.
Oh, you don't need anything. You just butter.
Butter. Okay, well, instead of butter, we're going to use the next best thing, and that would be butter and sugar melted together. What you got to do here is you got to kind of like stay in the kitchen because once your pan of bars is thoroughly baked, then you want to have ready 1 tablespoon of melted butter that's been mixed with a 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of milk, and 1 level cup of powdered sugar. You add a little vanilla to that and some finely chopped nuts. You could use pecans, peanuts, walnuts, whatever you have in your freezer, because I hoard nuts in my freezer, just like you hoard dates in your freezer. And then when you pull the pan out of the oven, whilst it is still warm, you want to spread this evenly over the top of the bars. Oh, and if you can wait till they're cool to cut one, by all means, they'll cut easier. But if you can't, it's worth crumbling that into a bowl and putting ice cream on it. Oh, it's a wonderful recipe for zucchini.
I can't wait to try it. I'm going to go home and make it tonight.
I hope you do, and I hope you let me know how it goes. Now, here's the one thing that if you could screw something up in this recipe that didn't go well for me one time when I made it, I forgot to put the nuts in the frosting mix before I spread it on the pan, and I put the nuts on after I spread the frosting, and they didn't stick. They kind of fell all over the place.
So you need to put them in, and then that acts as the glue to bind them together.
That's all you're doing is gluing the nuts to the top of the zucchini bars.
Right. Oh, this is awesome. So remember, the entire recipe can be found in the show notes on our website, farmsnews.com. And we'll be back next Friday with another installment of the Farms Friday Food File Podcast. And until then, get cooking.
Bye now.